Some people search for God their entire lives, yet never move from where they stand. Others travel through deserts, darkness, uncertainty, guided only by a fragile light in the sky. Tonight, we meet three strangers from the East, not kings by power, but kings by courage. They followed a star, and in doing so, they found more than a child. They found the meaning of their journey, and perhaps the meaning of ours. Far from Bethlehem, in a land of scholars and astronomers, there lived men who spent their nights studying the heavens. They were wise men, not because they knew everything, but because they knew how to seek. Night after night, they observed the stars, learning their movements, their patterns, their stories. Until one night, something changed. A star appeared that did not belong. Brighter, different, alive with meaning. It was not just a celestial event. It was a question written across the sky. And these men, unlike many others, did not ignore it. They could have explained it away. They could have admired it from a distance. They could have said, "Interesting," and returned to their routines. But instead, they chose the most difficult response of all. They got up and left, leaving comfort, leaving certainty, leaving the safety of what they already knew. Faith often begins not with answers, but with movement. Their journey was long and dangerous, through deserts where water was scarce, through nights where the stars seemed to disappear, through moments where doubt whispered, "What if you are wrong?" Yet they continued, because when God calls, He rarely reveals the entire path. He gives only enough light for the next step. When they arrived in Jerusalem, they assumed the answer would be obvious. "Where is the newborn King of the Jews?" they asked. But the city was disturbed. Herod was disturbed. The religious leaders were disturbed. The palace was disturbed. Because the presence of Christ always unsettles those who cling to power. Herod did not seek the child to worship him. He sought him to eliminate him. And yet, even through corrupted intentions, God's plan moved forward. The scriptures pointed the way to Bethlehem. Once again, the wise men had to choose: follow human authority or follow the star. They chose the star. And there it was again, reappearing, guiding them not to a palace, but to a house, not to wealth, but to poverty, not to power, but to a child held in his mother's arms. When they saw him, they did something extraordinary. They knelt. These learned men, these respected scholars, these travellers from distant lands, they knelt before a baby who could not yet speak their language, yet spoke directly to their hearts. They opened their treasures: gold, for a king; frankincense, for God; myrrh, for one who would suffer and die. They offered not what was convenient, but what was costly. Because true worship always costs something. And in that humble house, the world quietly changed. God was no longer hidden within one nation, one people, one place. He revealed himself to all, Jew and Gentile, near and far, learned and simple. This is the Epiphany, God making himself known to those willing to seek. That night, the wise men dreamed, and God warned them, "Do not return to Herod." So they went home by another way, not just geographically, but spiritually. No one encounters Christ and returns the same. The story of the Magi is not about astronomy. It is about attention. Many people saw the star. Few followed it. The difference was not intelligence, but openness. The wise men allowed their knowledge to lead them beyond itself. They were not afraid to admit, there is something greater than what we know. In our lives, God still places stars, a restlessness in the heart, a question that won't go away, a quiet longing for meaning. But stars require movement. Faith is not passive admiration, it is courageous response. Notice also where the star leads them. Not to comfort, not to recognition, but to humility, to kneeling, to offering gifts, gold, our resources, frankincense, our prayer, myrrh, our suffering. We often want to give God what does not hurt, but the Magi teach us that worship involves surrender. Finally, they returned home by another way. Encountering Christ changes direction. If our faith never alters our choices, our priorities, our paths, then perhaps we have admired the star without ever reaching the child. Tonight, ask yourself, what star has God placed in your life? What question keeps calling you forward? What comfort is He asking you to leave behind? Christ still reveals Himself, not to those who claim certainty, but to those who seek with humility. Do not be afraid to begin the journey, even if the road is long, even if the night is dark, even if the answers are incomplete. Follow the light you have, kneel when you arrive, offer what you carry, and trust this truth. Anyone who sincerely seeks Christ will never return home the same. Amen.